Hi and welcome to today's video, which showcases our sale tank. So this is a collection of some of the fish that we've got available for sale today. So these fish, you want them, we can send them to you immediately. What we're going to be discussing today is what we feed our fish. Now a lot of customers constantly ask us, they want the fish to continue looking as good as they are, and of course feeding you are what you eat. Firstly, we get in a flake that we sell to our customers, which is very similar to your nori that you get your sushi wrap in, but it comes shredded and it comes with a powder that kind of forms a gel when applied to liquid. So we mix a combination of pellet food, so whatever pellet food we're deciding to use in that day, we put that with water, we let it sit for 5 minutes, then we add the nori, we mix it all together. It forms quite a clumpy paste that we then push down. The moisture then permeates through everything and creates like a wet food, similar to rapashi and those type. We refrigerate that for 6 hours and then we feed it out. Leaving it in the fridge up to about a week, it stays pretty consistent, and that's what we feed our fish. This is we've been on a food journey over the last year and a half, 2 years, trying different foods. Everything from omelets to a thing, and so far this is the best, the least amount of waste, the best amount of vegetative matter, and of course you're getting your pelleted food, whatever your type is, which is the next thing I want to discuss. So interesting enough, all of these fish, you can see a large collection of cichlids from both Malawi and Tanganyika, and we've got fish that should be herbivorous and we've got fish that are highly predatory. So it's about making sure that everyone's getting enough of what they do. Now what we believe is that with the vegetative matter you can add any protein source to that and it moves all the way through, similar to what you get in the lake itself. If you can imagine tropheous fish grazing on algae, they're not just eating algae, they're eating all the insects, they're all the crustacea that are living in the algae. So let's apply like a half-half, so half of it's vegetative matter and half of it is whole crustacea. That's a great high level of protein, and we want to apply that further. So to carry on with what pellets we use, we've always fed goldfish pellets. I've never fed African cichlid pellets. On our website we've put that because we didn't want to anger the industry as a whole. You don't want to be telling people that there's a flaw in the industry. But I think what happens is, and the reason we fed goldfish pellets is because they were cheaper. Unanimously through almost all of the brands except for Cera, which is the new brand that we're using, all of the goldfish pellets is about 30% cheaper than what the cichlid pellets are for pretty much the same thing. Yeah, it's got a couple of percentage points different and maybe 1 or 2 ingredients. It's still the same thing realistically in our experience. So, and that is experience of feeding all the different types of foods. So what we've realized is basically it's the same with the horse industry. Equine products are more expensive than products for cattle because people that keep cattle won't pay for the prices that equine horse keepers will, because they're a speciality group. And that's the same thing with cichlids and discus keepers. You're in a speciality group, so therefore probably you'll pay more for a product than what someone else would be. So all of the fish that we've raised over the last few years have been raised on goldfish pellets. We've always bought the best quality brand that we could, but it's still been goldfish pellets. We've never fed cichlid pellets. Now I mentioned that we're now feeding Cera, which is a brand. John Carter contacted me a while back and introduced himself and explained what he's doing, and it was so nice to see a young person getting out there, pushing forward a brand, working hard to bring a new product in. And I think it's really important as a fish keeper that we support people like that, because that's what keeps our industry going. So we decided to give Cera a try. He was a good dude putting forward a good brand. I remember seeing when visiting the Stuart Grant facility in Malawi that they were feeding Cera, which is a German brand, and tried their brand out. So we're using a 55% or 50% protein mix in our with our vegetative matter, and the fish are looking fantastic. The proof of the pudding is in the eating, and these fish look awesome, even though we've got fish from Tanganyika and Malawi together. Now what I really liked about the Cera brand, firstly, is that the goldfish pellet was the same price realistically as the cichlid food. They don't put a premium on one select group over another, and that's, for me, was refreshing. Like all the other brands, because they know you'll pay more for it, they charge more for it, even though it's a very similar product. We really like Cera for that simple fact. It's a good high quality food. The fish look really good on it, and he's a nice person to deal with. I think it's it's cool to give your money to people that are trying hard and are doing the best for the industry. So check out Scales and Tails. If you want to buy something off their website, I think you need to hit them up with a Sierra20 as a coupon code on the website, and that will give you a 20% discount. So Sierra20, and available for the next 2 weeks. So I hope you've enjoyed a really good showcase of what our sail tank looks like. You know, these fish, they're all ready to go home, especially for your Christmas period. They are looking fantastic, very pretty, very strong, very vibrant, very rich fish, all proudly non-wild caught fish. We don't believe in wild caught fish just for the simple fact of the animal welfare aspect of it, you know, catching something in the wild, transporting it through various different stages, and it's got to be the worst. So sustainably grown African cichlids all the way. Hope you've enjoyed this video, showcase of our fish, and the promo code Sierra20 at Scales and Tails for your Sierra product.